So there's a story that I think David may have told once here about a farmer, an impatient farmer who planted rice. And he kept coming back to the fields to see the seeds grow. But it was really slow, and he was getting more and more impatient and frustrated. And so one day he realized, aha, I can make them grow faster. I have an idea. And he reached down and he pulled each one up about a half inch. And he was so excited. Went home and told his family he figured out a way to make the rice grow faster. And of course, they were horrified and ran to the fields. And it was too late. All of the seedlings were dead. And so I want to think about this with you today, the impact of impatience, the harm that it can cause to ourselves, to others, and to the earth. Right? We do this in our practice, we do this in our lives. We try to pull the plants up before they're ready. We try to make things go faster or grow faster. And it made me think about another metaphor sometimes used in our practice of forcing the petals of a flower open, right? And how we'll kill the flower when we do that. And same with our hearts, with our minds, with other beings. We so often don't trust or allow the pace of things, the pace of the rice growing, the flower blooming. I think about one example, right? My partner, when we argue, she often needs a lot of space and time alone to kind of cool down before being ready to engage. And I want to engage right away. I want to sort it out. I don't like being in conflict. I want to find a way to make it better. And when I push for that, it does harm potentially. It doesn't honor her pace. I'm not trusting her opening and closing as it needs to happen. And often we don't like the pace of other beings as they move through the world, as they make decisions, as they realize or don't realize things in their own time. And so we want to really get to know that feeling, right? When that man pulled those seedlings up, when we force things to happen out of impatience, there really can be a sort of violence that happens. And my sense is that this practice of cultivating patience really asks that we look at that and take responsibility for that energy and for the impact when we act out of it. And it asks us in a way to get clear on what's mine and what's not, right? What's here that I need to metabolize that's not someone else's fault, not the world's problem. And what is it that may be really difficult that I need to accept? In a way, they're sort of the same, right? And I know, for me, I don't know if it's true for you. When people have reacted to my pace of doing something or learning something with impatience, when they rush or become irritated with me, I actually get really scrambled inside. Everything gets very confused, and I disconnect from my own inner knowledge, my own awareness or process It's like it's gone. And I'm prone to doing things that I never would do otherwise because of that disconnection, which just sort of makes everything even worse and usually makes that person even more irritated with me. And Jay and Lori talked about this as well. The impact of other people's reactions to our pace. Jay, the relief when her mom kind of opened another way for her to learn how to write. And Lori talking about the kind of internalized messages that get taken on in being a slow learner. We really can internalize messages about ourselves that something is wrong with us. Right? If we're not going at the pace that others or society expects, or on the cushion, right? Something's wrong with me if I'm not settled yet, if I'm not calm yet. And I've been thinking, as I reflected on this, a little bit of our practice of the Brahma Viharas for a year in 2022 together, and really feeling into how much compassion and equanimity are at the root of patience. So compassion, that willingness to orient to, acknowledge, connect to pain, to care about it, totally wholeheartedly, but without any agenda or needing to fix or change it. Because when that's happening, it's usually about our own distress. I can't bear seeing you in pain, or I can't bear the pain in the world, so I have to make something different happen. Versus I see it, I can connect to it and care. And equanimity, sort of holding that toward so much else, all that's arising. I am willing to be with what's here without getting pulled into preference or having it need to be some other way. And what a gift that is. What a gift, the compassion and equanimity of patience. It's such an antidote to impatience. Because when we're impatient, again, we really send that message, you're not okay as you are. You need to be different. And I just came out of a training in a therapy modality that I use. And in essence, it's a very compassionate, allowing, respectful approach. But nonetheless, just like with Vipassana meditation, right, which is all about being with, seeing things as they are, nonetheless, the energy of agenda and pushing and forcing those petals open or pulling the rice seedlings up was right there. And so people who were practicing being in the clinician role, right, they're trying to learn a model. And so they were like imposing it in a way that pushed a little bit and sent even subtly the message, this should move faster, or you should be going deeper, your system should be doing something different. And it doesn't land well. I think it really hits for all of us back to those deepest wounds we have. Some way we got the message, directly or indirectly, that how we were, how we move through the world, how we express ourselves was wrong. And someone was irritated with it, or society didn't like it, and we had to be different. And we start losing that connection to what's here. And that capacity to listen into that and honor it and trust ourselves. And it was beautiful in this training, as we sort of, just like we do here, we help the clinicians, the people in those roles, soften back. Like, what if you don't have to do anything? And you could see the person in the client role, such relief, such relief. And then so much would happen. Everything changed. Everything moved in the way it needed to because there wasn't that judgment and pushing. So incredible positive impact of compassionate, equanimous patience. And I really want to, keep encouraging us to remember that this last week on patience, we are doing this partly because acting out of impatience can cause harm toward ourselves, toward others, and certainly to our earth, right? We don't wait for the earth to replenish itself or heal before we're trying to take more from it. And so when we act out of impatience, it really is as if we're pulling that seedling up and out of its roots, or we're ripping the petals open when the flower hasn't yet bloomed and isn't ready to. So, as we practice, we can notice what's the message we want to send to ourselves, right? And Jay offered some phrases, and we can play with this as well today, right? Accepting ourselves as we are, honoring our pace. May we metabolize the impatient energy in us. May we know impatience. May we know patience also, and the roots of patience. So thank you for your attention.